All right, what's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. I'm getting this video out later than I wanted, but I don't really think it's going to be that long of a video, but we'll see. They usually always are. Yeah, I hope everybody learned something today. Just kind of stress-free, not chasing anything. I got out of the NASDAQ calls 2 days ago, my plan was to get back into any NASDAQ calls, is to wait and be patient and let the market come to me. And that's what I've done. I haven't gotten long NASDAQ, Thursday or today. I did not either. And I think that's going to be my New Year's resolution with trading is stress-free and a place to receive. So stress-free receive. Stress-free receive. I should write that down actually and put that up somewhere because that's a pretty good one. So we can go over, let's just go over everything. I mean, yesterday and today both, pretty similar-ish, with today pretty big sell-off and then a nice rebound, which doesn't surprise me going into the close. I mean, it's Friday, we're in a bull market, things are good. It's kind of the first pullback that we've gotten. Intraday, anything meaningful, so it doesn't really surprise me. And not to mention this trend line that we drew on Wednesday, this uptrend line on Wednesday, got respected today and bounced directly off this a couple different times. And I did make some day trades off of this with NASDAQ futures here, right off this trend line. But it's not for any swing positions here. It doesn't meet all my criteria. So let's go over all the positions. I'm still in those Amazon debit spreads, and yeah, I mean, it hit 236.4, and my price target is right around 237. So basically right there, but haven't gotten out of these debit spreads here. There's still some time to go with these, and I've got a good cushion on them, and my price target hasn't been hit. We're in a good bull market here, so we'll see what happens over next week or so. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, if we can get some more consolidation, I'll feel a lot better about these. But so those are February 14 is the expiration, 225 on the long call, 235 on the short call. I paid 405. Those are currently 580. So working good. That was basically flat on the day today, really, for those. They're down a little bit, but then IBIT. So still in IBIT calls here, man, what a lame close. Wow, really lame close. I was all bulled up today on Bitcoin and was like, oh, you should add, but no, that would have been jumping the gun to have added, when it was like right in this whole area, I'm like, oh, it's primed for a breakout, right? But hey, I'm not here to predict or anticipate anything, I trade the probabilities, and that's it, and the probability that this was going to break out, there was less than, pulling back. So I practiced some restraint, but super lame close, man. That's a bummer. So March 21st is the expiration, $55 strike price, $675 is what I paid. Those are currently $812. So let's look at Bitcoin over here. And let's get rid of this so we can see what's going on. Consolidating, right? Anyone wants to come up with some sort of, pattern, some name to sound smart or whatever, it's immaterial. What matters is you have a run up, consolidation, and a spot that gives you a risk to reward. Right, so that's what matters. So how we played this one was like this. was like this over this 50-day moving average, is when I got in, or maybe I waited one day, I can't quite remember, but over the 50-day moving average, 1, 2, 3 days, hits this trend line, get out, I should say, get out. Then over the trend line, got back in. And so, we've been holding these now. Maybe there's another little thingy here. Maybe, I don't know. It's just whatever. Let's look at this on the weekly chart. Oh yeah, so the weekly chart, I would have loved today to see this close at the high. That would have been really good. I think I was talking about that in one of the videos, where who knows, we'll see maybe this week, 2 nice candlesticks, weekly closes in a row. That would be super bullish after all of this consolidation. But regardless, if this can break out, this is still lots of consolidation, and for another move higher for sure. So yeah, still in those. Oh, I started something new today. Okay, so we'll go over that. Gold. Tesla, super weak, like very weak. And 1, 2, 3 3 weekdays in a row. 3 days that are weak in a row. And I gotta be honest, I am surprised after this day here on Monday, or was this, so Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday. Okay, so Tuesday. Pretty good, strong, price action as bearish news came out. So usually on any sort of bad news that the price action gets supported, like not only does it not go down, but it's actually supported and goes higher, is a very, very good sign. So I was very excited, and I'm no longer excited. But I'll be holding this below the 50-day moving average. So average cost basis on this is the equity position 411.74. Moving on. Let's see this on a weekly chart. I think I might have looked at this. Yeah, it's just, it's whatever. Nothing wrong when you see it on a weekly chart. You're like, all right, it's whatever. It's all range bound, some sort of consolidation. Above $400, right? So you've got like clear sort of areas of support in here, 50-day moving average, a $400 psychological level. That's right, I did say psychological. You could also scoff at that too, but hey. So, I'm not excited about this now. It's weak, but hey, could this work out? Of course, I don't let my emotions get in the way of making any decisions. I try not to anyways, right? I'm not perfect. Yeah, something like this. We'll do that. And again, you guys know, like, I am a fan of trend lines. I am a fan. Where we could go over NASDAQ here. I make decisions off of trend lines all the time, and I'm successful in doing so. And, some people think trend lines are stupid and too simplistic, but, here's the thing. I heard somebody say this today, and it's so true, is, there are so many strategies that work. And, so people try and jump from one strategy to the other strategy to another strategy to another strategy and think, oh, it's this person's strategy or that strategy that sucks. But clearly it doesn't suck because some people can make it work. What sucks is yourself. So you got to fix yourself before a strategy is going to work, right? So, and it's so true, it's so true. So anyway, so trend lines, I go off this trend line, this trend line, right? And so, this is when I got long NASDAQ, a break above this trend line that had worked. And then this is some sort of short-term trend line, right? But, here clearly you can see a bounce off of this trend line where, again, I'm not going to take a swing trade in here. And maybe that would have been the play, I don't know. But bounce off that trend line. I placed a couple different little futures trades in here, and cool. It's like, all right. So Tesla, there's that. Taiwan Semiconductor. We'll go over Taiwan Semiconductor. Good day for Taiwan Semiconductor, given the fact Nvidia was down like a bajillion percentage points. 3. But this is still fine. Nvidia is still fine. So Taiwan Semiconductor showing some strength in the group. Average cost on those are 206.34, and I have a really nice position size in these. Really good. I mean, I could add to this for sure, but really good, right? So here's the first day I started, and I had said, yes, this is probably dumb place to start right here, but this thing is looking good. Added here, and now I'm just chilling. So it was like 4 different days of adding to this position, and that's what I do. I add to winners or add to positions that I think look good, right? That's a strategy that I've learned from somebody that's successful that I have found works for me. Not everybody does that, and freaking doesn't matter. There's a bunch of different strategies. And as a matter of fact, I think maybe it's in Mark Minervini's book, or is it in Tao of Trading? So it's either in Think Like a Champion or Mindset of a Champion, Trade Like a Master, whatever one of Mark Minervini's books is. I think it's that one. It's either that one or Tao of Trading, where he goes through math of you have 2 traders with the same size accounts, and they have the exact same trades, the exact same profit percentage gains and losses on every trade, but one trader significantly outperforms the other one. How is that possible? Well, the one that outperforms the other trader is always using the same size, the same amount of money, whereas the other trader is kind of moving up or down with the money, right? So you could argue that, hey, that strategy of, adding to winners isn't good given the math in that particular book. And hey, that is true. That's something you cannot argue. I'm just saying, for me, that's what works for me. That's what Bill O'Neill did and taught all his guys to do. And Jim Ropel, right? So like wildly successful people, they do that, right? So there's more than one way to skin a cat, as the saying goes. So that's just, yeah, I'm just piggybacking off of, there's so many different strategies, right? And that can work, it's like, but what is the most important is to work on yourself personally, or I should say myself personally. That's how I found success. So Taiwan Semiconductor still looks really good. Let's look at semis here. I just can't believe semis are a laggard, and we're in a bull market. If I feel like I've been saying this for like 2 months or so, but the semis can turn up. I mean, look out. This thing's going to be a psycho bull market. So that's it for the positions. Like I said, I'm not chasing anything. I got out of the NASDAQ calls 2 days ago. And so here on this day. And now we wait and just be patient. Yeah, so this day is Thursday, Friday, Wednesday. Yeah, so Thursday I didn't make a video. Friday. So like I said, just chill, be patient, let it come to you, right? I'm not going to force anything in here. there's always going to be a trade that's obvious, and missing out on some, hey, that's fine. Okay, and now let's talk about, more trend lines, I guess, and a new trade that I've started a position in. So gold, remember we drew these trend lines as well, a couple different of them. So here's one in red, we can zoom in more, red, and then red, right? So today, or was this yesterday? Yesterday, right? Bounces right off of this trend line. Okay, so are trend lines dumb? Sure, some people definitely claim they are, but hey, I found success in them, and yeah, so respecting this trend line for now, gold still really, really looks good, so here, kind of how would you play this in terms of a risk to reward for a swing trade? I don't think there is one to be placed in here to start a new one. I got out of these gold calls on this day right here, so the 21st. And I kind of messed up on my entry point on this, but clearly I got out a little bit too early. I could have definitely got some more, and that has seemed to be a common theme this whole year, or I guess last year, with gold. And although gold was one of my most profitable instruments that I traded last year, if not the most, maybe NASDAQ, but gold, I don't know exactly how I finished the year, but GLD was definitely leading the way for like most of the year. And that was a common theme last year, was I got out way too early, like way too early. Gold was very strong last year. So again, these are good signs. These are good things where it's kind of like, oh man, I got out at a really conservative area and it kept going higher, showing strength, right? So then in the future, when your buy signals get hit, you can have a little bit more, I can have a little bit more conviction in the trade that like, hey, these are showing strength, right? Just kind of similar to NASDAQ or Dow. Dow, it's just blasting higher, So when a buy signal gets triggered for Dow, then, you get a little bit more conviction, right? Russell looks pretty good too. S&P looks good. So we'll go through that. So anyways, the new position here started is in silver with calls in SLV, and this trend line here, I said a break above this trend line would be good, and then anything over 2, look out. And so I started this not here. As a matter of fact, I started this towards the end of the day, and now this really looks like crap. It's like really... So anyways, the risk to reward is really good. So at below 30, and then I would get out of these. So with SLV, I guess it would be a little bit different. So, you're risking, a single point here for a couple. So, the risk to reward here is good. And good enough for me to take the trade here over the 50-day moving average. These things are moving up. Gold still looks really good. Maybe I wasn't patient enough in these. Actually, now that I think about it, look at the stochastic up here. That doesn't meet my criteria. So I guess I should have been a little bit more conservative here. So yeah, okay. So there's the mistake on this one. We'll see if this can work out or not. But regardless, there's a mistake and something to learn from. So silver calls April 17 is the expiration. So these are like 83 days or something to expiration. So a long time. $26 is the strike price. So, it's in the money. $260 is what I paid for these. These are currently $255. So that's it. That's all the current positions. Now let's kind of go over everything just broadly speaking here. So first let's go through Bitcoin. We went over Bitcoin. Now let's look at MicroStrategy. Had a 353. Yikes. That's strange. Oh, it's sitting there. I'm really, leery of Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy. There's something off. There's just something off. That's all I can say. Okay, so then Hut had a decent day. Riot. Ooh, decent, I guess. Marathon. Yeah. Clean Spark. I think Clean Spark's a total no-go. Yeah, this is a total no-go. Yeah, I got to do a little bit more digging to MicroStrategy. I have. But something just does not add up here. And I don't really want to speculate, you guys can look into it yourself, but just in common sense, it's just like, you're like, something's a little bit off, so I've looked into it, and if it is what it is alleging to be, then woo! Okay, so, let's look at gold miners. Wow. Okay, this is good. Yeah, so AGI is what I like for gold miners. Cool. So, again, 50-day moving average moving up. There's going to be plenty of time to get into this if this is going to be working. Okay, so there's that. Now, let's go over Dow. Just really strong. Looks good. But, again, right? I'm not going to, get long right here, So... But I would love to see it pull back to the 50-day moving average and then, support off of that. Then I will. Russell looked pretty good today, all day. Intraday looked good. But, yeah, I did want to go long, but then I was thinking, hey, I'm anticipating, I'm trying to predict how things are going to be, right? Also, the stochastic, that's definitely a no-go. But, the price action today and Russell did look pretty good. This was it right here. Boom, boom, and then higher, So, all through here, right? You're like, wow, this looks really good. It was the best looking. But, so there's that. S&P... looks good, but you're going to start a position here? No. And why? Why? Because the risk to reward is off, How do you know when you're wrong? You got to take this thing all the way below this 50-day moving average, for a swing trade. Or, if you wanted to do a trend line like this, anything below there, get out. But also, too, this is still, a pretty short time frame, so... The less time there is, the less emphasis I put on it. Although, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 2 weeks. It's pretty decent, but still I would consider this kind of short. Okay. Now, let's go over some sectors. So financials, wow, closed up today. Looks really good. And I think if Berkshire Hathaway starts working here, then the XLF, yeah, so this looks really good. Is this some sort of cup with handle sort of thing forming, right? If this can turn up, that would be fantastic for XLF, right? JP Morgan's already at all-time highs. How's Goldman Sachs been doing? I haven't really been looking at it. Yeah. Bank of America, I think, was looking pretty good. Although the Trumpsters did get a little bit fiery with the Bank of America's CEO. And, you think about that, right? I don't know anything about this. I don't know anything about Bank of America. But, if he is refusing to, have some bank with, conservative business owners or whatever, which wouldn't surprise me in any way, shape, or form. I mean, that's what has been happening. That happened. Um, but if that is true, I mean, that stuff is super messed up. You know what I mean? And so the Trumpsters called him out on that in front of everybody. And if you guys didn't see it, it was pretty good. You know, at the World Economic Forum in Davos, he called him out, and you could see, you know, the CEO of Bank of America. You could see him, man. He was like, whoa, you know, really taken aback, and then started stroking his ego. You know what I mean, right? Like these people, these CEOs, right? They're the best salesmen in the world. You know, like a Bank of America CEO. You know, all this guy is nothing but one of the best salesmen, right? So, you know, he played that beautifully. That response back to the Trumpsters, you know, saying, you know, stroking his ego and whatever, right? So he played that beautifully. So it's kind of a master class. Both very powerful people, you know, kind of digging at each other. And, you know, essentially the Bank of America CEO kind of just brushed it off like, man, whatever. Here's a compliment to stroke your ego, though, you know. It's a pretty master class. That was really cool to see. Okay, now real estate. Hanging on, baby, hanging on, you know. Hey, if this 42 level looks really suspect, but like I said, we are in a bull market. How is the volume coming up over this? It was of no significance, you know. So again, this level right here is really, really suspect. But as long as bonds will continue to perform well, I think real estate will too. And then this could be a really good trade. I mean, you know, so then like, cause Caterpillar's been rocking and rolling, you know, industrials rocking. So let's look at home builders. What is it? XHB. Looking really weak. But DH, Horton. Oh yeah, see, they just been getting sold off, right? So like, if you bought into the hype here on this earnings, where they just crushed it on earnings, you know, you'd be screwed, right? So it's like, hey, this is below the 200-day moving average, below the 50-day moving average. This is a no-go no matter what, you know? Would have saved you from this. Like, yeah, could you have caught it and felt like a hero? Sure, but trading has nothing to do with being a hero at all. Something else I heard too is, you know, I've got no problem with coming in second place, and that's also a good mindset to have. You know, you're not here trying to be a hero. Oh, another good saying is, I'm not trying to buy at the bottom. I'm just trying to buy when there's the highest probability that price will work in my favor. You know, and that's basically what my mindset is, and that's how I trade. Again, there's a bajillion different strategies. You know, you want to try and pick a bottom, like, okay, you know, maybe it works, whatever. But yeah, that's what works for me. So let's look at Japan here. So Japan was awesome for a while. Really good. And see, here's the other thing. All through this whole area, as Japanese equities were rocking, the whole rhetoric is Japan's economy is in recession. They're screwed. Everything's screwed. They had all these issues with the Japanese yen, and just all sorts of issues, right? But that's where you don't listen to any of these experts or any of these analysts or any of these people. You know, like, none of that mattered. That, right? I listened to none of that and was long, you know, through here a bunch of times, right? You know, why were equities working? I don't know. Does it really matter? Like, no, you know, you just look at the charts here, right? You know, it's because people are moving price, not some economist that, you know, has no skin in the game, right? But then this massive thing. So anyways, I haven't really been looking at it since maybe here. So, no opinion. It's good to not see it like totally capitulating here. So let's look at futures for NASDAQ. Ooh, or NASDAQ, Japan, the Nikkei. Yeah, and this looks like pretty good. You know, looks okay. See this on a weekly chart. Wow. See, you know, if you were looking at this on a weekly chart, man, that is right here, you know, and you kind of look at this like, dang, this might be some sort of support area. Last time it was at this level, it was supported, right? This is all resistance, broke above, got supported. Yeah, the moving average, and yeah, that would have been, whoo, you know, and everyone's free. I mean, somebody caught this trade, that's for sure. Plenty of people did. Look at that wick. Wow. Oh, man. Yeah, they're partying. And then each tick in this is $25, you know? So, woo. That's a hairy one. I've definitely back in here trading those, you know? So, for me anyways, you know, I'm sure some people are degaff. Okay. But yeah, a single tick, $25 a single tick. So, okay, where are we going here? Sectors. Let's continue with sectors. Let's see how materials are doing. Bad. You know, I mean, hey, remember when I said from here on this day or whatever, I said this could go all the way up to 90 and it means absolutely nothing. So we're right here at 90. This still means absolutely nothing. I would really like to see this moving higher because what is this going to be, the first sector to go? You know, is this what people are going to say? Oh, okay, here was your first sign. You know, how long is this going to take to roll over? Is it going to roll over? Nobody knows. Although that's not quite true. We'll go over EA and where we could see somebody does know. So let's first get through these sectors before I get sidetracked. Then we'll go to EA if somebody always knows. Oh, let's look at communications here. Oh! Okay, so this is something else to go after, although, you know, I wouldn't start a position here, but, you know, again, above the 50-day moving average, start moving up, something's going on, right? Could this start a new uptrend? Because, I mean, communications really surprising, and I wonder if this has anything to do with Verizon, although I have no clue what is in the communications ETF. I really have no clue. Verizon had good earnings, but then got completely sold off, you know? I mean, again, yeah, below the 200-day moving average, right? So, like, no matter what, this is a no-go, right? So you have great news, and it just gets completely blasted. So, and it's such a shame, too, with Verizon. Just what a terrible company they became. They were so good. They were the best company, and then they're just absolutely horrible. So, okay. As a customer, I should say, for customers, you know, not looking at earnings, I you know, don't know, but clearly they were not impressive, and just, man, the way they treat kids, just, wow. So, okay. Utilities, which I guess I don't, you know. Whoa! Holy moly. So there's more thing. Like, this looks really good. Is this going to be a cup with handle pattern above the 50-day moving average? You could have a clear risk to reward here. Wait for the stochastic come back, right? So there's plenty of things now. So XLC, XLU, XLP I think is still a no-go, although it's trying. But again, you know, below the 200-day moving average, this is a no-go. Okay, so that's that. Let's go over Mag 7. Apple continues to be weak, but here at the 200-day moving average, Yeah, it continues to be weak. I guess they have an issue with selling phones in China. The Chinese economy is, man, really been hit hard for, what, 3 years now? Or maybe more. Maybe more. Maybe it's been 4 years. I can't remember. But I watched all sorts of awesome documentaries on the Chinese economy, demographics, real estate, their real estate market, and man, they are in trouble. In the way, city governments sell land, and again, like demographics, right? So, because of that one child policy, created so many issues. Oh my gosh, this is so perfect. I should have worn this shirt. I'll wear it for another video, but the shirt says, should the government ... Nope, right? So like, that is my default for, should the government do this? No. Should the government? No. Government should stay out of absolutely everything. And this is, I mean, you got a communist country where government policy has clearly hurt people, right? We have the example of that in America. There's a bajillion reasons, right? I mean, we went from the number one in education to like number 30 or whatever we are now since the Department of Education got involved, right? So the government gets involved in education, and we go from the best to like the 30th or something. I mean, that's remarkable, right? I mean, like, you just think about that in percentage standpoint. I mean, that's insane. It's insane. So it's like, should the government gets involved in healthcare, what happens? Prices go drastically through the roof, right? Government gets involved in housing, right? So, in 2008, everyone thinks, oh, it's these Wall Street guys, right? Well, what happened prior to that? The government gets involved. George W. Bush does the Affordable Care Act or whatever, right? So, so should the government just no? The government should no, So anyway, so in China, the one child policy, what happens is the demographics are screwed now. So you have majority children and majority elderly, right? So these are a drain on an economy. If you're just looking at it from a numbers standpoint, children and elderly, they're not really adding to the economy, right? So your middle-aged citizens, generally speaking, are the productive ones that help the economy in terms of just numbers. I'm just talking about numbers, right? So that is where they're completely lagging. So that's already an issue. And then the issue with the one-child policy that had happened is, so they have all these, they have a higher percentage of women. So the competition for finding a mate for men gets harder and harder and harder. So, what happens is the women start getting really choosy. So then that helped fuel the massive real estate bubble and all these ghost cities, because women were not marrying their families, were not allowing them to get married to men who didn't have real estate. So, they would just build all these ghost cities and, no electricity, no nothing, right? Just a wall, most of the time it's not even windows, right? And so these people are buying it, taking on 4 generations of debt, right? So these are all things that are a result of government getting involved, okay? So that's a huge issue. Another huge issue with water there. It's endless issues. So their economy is really bad shape here. Let's see, the stocks are looking pretty good though. Hey, you know what? Maybe government can fix it. Yeah, it's not looking bad, right? But you never know. The freaking government's gonna come and freaking take over Alibaba, and what happened to Jack Ma or whatever, what happened to that guy? He got told to you got to keep quiet there. Ooh, this is good on a weekly chart. Whoa, over the 50-day moving average. So not here, but hey, if China could start working, that would be cool too. So hey, maybe this is something to start looking at. But anyway, so you look at like, so the Chinese, stock market, since like forever, you've made $0, like you're losing all sorts of money. If you've been holding Chinese stocks since forever, you've lost so much money, 20 years later, you're, due to inflation, inflated at like a bajillion percentage points since 2005, So you're down huge, right? So there's nowhere else for them to go as well. That's another reason, they start packing into real estate, and hey, this sucks. What are you gonna? I mean, this sucks. How do you make money in this? Like, how can you buy and hold this? You can't. So it's a bummer. It's a bummer for the citizens. Winnie the Pooh, he's got to get out of there. All right. Oh, gosh. Okay. So let's go over to finish up with Mag 7. So Apple's bummer. Nvidia's looking fine. I mean, Apple still looks fine too, right? But it's now a laggard. So you just, Google's looking good. Really good. If Google can break above or whoever was in here selling, and it looks like that selling is drying up, then that would be good. So Google looks fantastic. Meta today, new all-time high, and this is what you like to see with Meta, with any stock for that matter. But closing at the highs, really strong day, while NASDAQ was relatively speaking weak. So Meta just looks really good. Microsoft, I think, was down. So it kind of came back up. So again, this is great. Tesla looks like crap. Yeah, it's like crap. But it's fine, right? I mean, so clear uptrend. Is there some sort of trend line we can draw like this or something? I don't know. Is that stupid? I'm going to say no, that is not stupid. We'll go with this because this kind of coincides with 400 as well as the 50-day moving average. So I'm going to go with no, that trend line's not stupid. But this does look bad. Or weak. It looks weak. But not bad enough for me to get out of it. So, it's whatever. Apple. That's it. Okay. All right. EA, look at this. So remember... so this was heavy selling. And so somebody clearly knew that this was coming. Bam! Look at this. Wow. What a huge drop. Man. So, when saying, nobody knows, there's also that old adage of somebody always knows, How certain are you? I am not uncertain. And I actually think this was Citadel that was in here selling. I could be wrong, but it's one of those. It's either Citadel or .72 or something, and they know. If anybody knows, they know. So, but anyways, this is why rules are important, right? So you kind of follow the money. Yes, I messed up. I was in this in here and crap, but got out. And so below the 200-day moving average is a no-go and blasted. So, hey, although you don't know for sure, that's why technical analysis is so important. It saves you from this, right? So you do kind of know without knowing. You can follow the money, follow the trends, right? I'm not trying to be a hero, whatever. I saw some article today that said the risk to reward in EA, continues to be good. And hey, that could be the case, right? But it's just a dumb strategy, like how if gun to my head, how would I play this? A close below this area of the low, and I would get out. So it's like if you play it from that standpoint to this could fill the gap, which it will at some point. This gap will be filled. Then sure, it's like that is a good risk to reward, right? But anyways, okay. So the nukes. Look at this. Remember on Wednesday I said, oh my gosh, I missed this, right? And then this next day, 5% day for an ETF. Woo! So this is another huge volume. Like I said, these are institutions that are now getting into this. Institutions have done their homework with nuclear energy. They're usually late to the table, or slow, I should say. But they've clearly been doing their homework and have all agreed with each other that nuclear energy is good to go after, which I agree with. That for the coming years, this is going to be a great play. And CCJ looks good. Let's wait for the stochastics to kind of come back down. We're going to go after CCJ again here soon. Many sectors. So TLT and Bitcoin, gold, miners. Yeah, so TLT, good supporting action still. Hey, as long as this can kind of keep cruising, no worries. So any ideas for the coming week or weeks? Yes, CCJ, XLC, XLU, FXI, maybe China. Oh man, oh jeez, is that against my morals? It could very well be. Wow, 3.5% today. Boom. So, yeah, that's it, you guys. Happy Friday, and we'll see you next week.